welcome back to the channel. This is Rob here at Smirking Gun Reviews, back to talk more Doctor Who Season 9. We are on Episode 9 of Season 9. It is called Sleep No More. Now, I was told by my subscriber and friend of the channel and supporter of the channel, great big friend of the channel, Belinda, who made watching these Doctor Who episodes possible by helping me out on Patreon, because I wasn't able to afford to buy the rest of the episodes when they went off of Amazon Prime. But in a message she sent to me, she's describing the rest of the season, and she said I could kind of skip this one. But that's not fair. You paid for all the episodes. So it's only right that I review this episode you told me I could skip. And basically I've just felt like challenge accepted. Especially when you told me it was found footage. I was like, oh man, okay, I gotta see this. It really piqued my interest. The more somebody says don't do something, I almost feel like I have to. So this is kind of like, I would almost say that this is one of those episodes that like 10 years from now, if it never aired, it'd be like one of the lost episodes of a show that never really gets any, play. So, it follows the pretty standard cliched found footage type of thing, but with some really fun Doctor Who moments in there. I especially love how the Doctor and Clara are introduced to the story here, because in essence this is still kind of like your typical episode where the Doctor and Clara, or Doctor and any of his companions come in, where a bunch of red shirts just get offed one by one throughout the story. Since I've been watching since season 8, this has happened several times over the course of these two seasons. And I don't know if that's, kind of just not to make a pun, but is that a tenet for this show to just continue to do that? Probably. I'll find out when I go back and watch older episodes after we finish with Capaldi. But in this, it's the found footage thing, where we get the guy at the beginning, right? We get the guy at the beginning who's like the girl from Blair Witch here, telling us, all the tragic events that happened. But you can tell from the beginning that he's saying this, he's alive at the time of recording this. And that's how we started all off. And the group of people that we get here, that were introduced here through the little video clips of this is that person and this is that person, like, it's the cliche. A lot of things have these cliched groups of people that are put together that honestly should never work together. All their personalities that clash, the grunt, the one who's taking things too seriously, the one who's taking things not seriously enough, the tough one, the smart one. But you all know that they're cannon fodder. And it's so cliche. I don't know. It's like, I get it. Everyone's different. But seriously, we're not all that interesting. You put a bunch of people together to do a job, we're not all going to have, like, you're not going to walk into, like, my job, right? Put 5 of us together and be like, okay, he's the funny one, she's the like, it just doesn't always work like that. It's actually kind of insulting to be like, yeah, he's the funny one, she's the bitch, or something like that. I don't know why I went to her. He's the bitch. Okay, I'll change it up. She's the funny one, he's the bitch. I don't know. It's just something I thought about. And welcome to my reviews, everybody. This is what happens. Because we don't just talk about the show. We talk about how the show makes us feel. Or at least how it makes me feel. Because I feel like when you review something, or when you're watching something at home, right? So we're taking this skippable episode, and we're going to talk about a few things here. Like this little subject here. Where when you watch something at home, you're not just sitting there, usually I don't think, just watching it like blankly. You think about how it makes you feel, or what would you do in their circumstances. And sometimes it might make you think, oh, I've done that, or I've been through that, or that's something that I did. Like if you made a mistake that somebody made in a show, and it'll make you go, ooh, like, yeah, a little like, they make you feel things. Things that we watch give us emotional responses. If they don't give us emotional responses, then what are we watching them for other than just, just to fill our day out? And so, like, that's how my reviews are. So even on a video like this, we're going to talk about it, because there's really not that much to talk about here. There really isn't. So anyway, that's how this review is going to be. We're going to talk about things like that. But I do like how the Doctor and Clara just enter the story. They're just walking. They don't even know that anybody's there. They're just having a conversation talking about space restaurants, which I thought was really funny. This also is kind of like, it reminded me of X-Cops from Season 7, Episode 12 of The X-Files, where Mulder and Scully are followed around by a documentary crew throughout their little mission, except the documentary crew is these people's helmets. It's just the first thing that I thought of. The style of how they're talking, like people, like the Doctor and Clara kind of being like, almost like they're on TV in this episode, a little bit. We also know that it's the 38th century, and so for some reason we grow grunt soldiers in the 38th century. And we still act like this. And that's crazy, because somehow we made it to the 38th century and we still act like this. Damn, I weep for the species, okay? Because we never should, acting like these fools, we should never have made it to the 38th century. But there's also the other cliche where it's a derelict ship that needs a rescue. There's a signal going out. So a team is sent out there and everyone's going to die. Everyone's going to die. It's basically a foregone conclusion. Just like Alien or Event Horizon, etc., etc. So hop in for something that you've seen before and done better. But the Doctor's really funny in this. Clara's really funny in this. I like when she says something smart and she's just like, see, it's not just all this. It's not just this. I like that part. And we talk about this thing called a Morpheus device, right? It's a big sleeping pod. And I love that it turns on and plays Mr. Sandman, which plays heavily into the creatures of this episode and dreams and all that. So we don't see it. It happens off screen, which I think is really funny because a lot of times things like that happen in found footage movies where they pan away and you hear somebody go, ah, and you turn away and everybody rushes to see the thing that we couldn't see. And then all of a sudden she's just in the pod. We didn't see, like they open it back up and she's strapped totally in this. I mean, seconds had gone by. Mere seconds had gone by and she's in there. And they take her out and she goes, oh, these things like came out and snaked at my face, and pulled me in. We saw none of that. So what is Morpheus is what I was thinking. That's what they were saying. But we see these sand creatures. So it's like Mr. Sandman. The creatures turn into sand in dreams, sleep deprivation. All these things come up. So you get into these pods and it removes the reason to sleep. It's not sleep deprivation, it's kind of like sleep eradication. And again, it reminds me of another X-File that was in season 3 called Sleepless, where they had a bunch of guys in Vietnam put a chunk of their brain out, taking a chunk out of their brain so they never needed to sleep ever again. And these guys hadn't slept for 25 years. And what would that have done to somebody over that amount of time? And that's kind of like a little bit what's happening here, where these people were put in there to lose the reason to sleep. And by doing that, oh my God, just bear with me. The crust in our eyes, basically in a roundabout way, turns into these sand people. I know I'm not doing it complete justice here. I know I'm not 100% accurate on this, but whoa, okay. And the Doctor gives a bit of a speech, about you've conquered nature. You've conquered nature and created an abomination. Basically, sleep is this glorious thing that they took for granted. They didn't feel like they needed to do it. You know, it was a waste of time. The doctor says that even he sleeps when you're not looking, to Clara. Um, it's like sleep dust, crust in our eyes, dust build up, worst. So it's basically, yeah, sleep dust, crust in our eyes, dust build up, worst case scenario. But all the crust and dust in our eyes develops and becomes this. Um, but sleep is essential, and the doctor is right in a way, you know, but he says like greedy humans, you know, trying to get rid of sleep to just keep doing things. And he's right in a way, but it's like, I personally, right, I find sleep great. I used to hate it. Used to hate it. In fact, the thing is I still hate it. I hate sleep. It feels great. I just wish I didn't need it. So in a way, I understand what he's saying, that we're greedy. Like, because if I could just keep going all day long without sleep, I would. Because as much as I love the feeling of sleep, if I didn't need it anymore, I could get so much more done. Like while everybody else is sleeping, I could actually get better at making my YouTube videos. I would finally have the time to maybe take some courses and practice doing stuff so that I don't accidentally steal someone's thumbnail. We'll be talking more about that later on another video. Um, but sleep is like, what if when your body died, they could... Okay, yeah, okay, I came up with an idea for this. It's fine. I find sleep great, but I hate that I have to. Sleep is like, what if when your body died, they keep your brain alive in a sleep state where you're physically dead but still conscious in a dream state? That's basically what I came up with in the idea. It's like, yeah, so like, what if my body can die, fine. But what if you just kept my brain alive in a dreamlike state where I would never know that I'm not alive, I'd just be dreaming forever? I'm fine with that too. It means that consciousness, to me, it's like consciousness is life in a way. I'm gonna dig myself in a hole real bit, because if we're not actually part of a world, if we're not actually walking around, if we're not contributing, we're just a brain in a jar, then, and wow, how far off the rails this review is going. But like I said, there's not much to talk about, so I'm making shit up and I'm filling it in. But if somebody said your body will die, but we'll keep your brain alive in a jar, and in essence, you will still be awake. We will keep your brain firing for eternity, so that you will never technically be dead. You just won't be walking around anymore. And then when we figure out how to put your brain in that robot body that you keep talking about, then we can do it, and then you will be walking around. I'm sorry. This is how it is today, folks. Yeah. Okay, so back to the episode. They're blind creatures. So how can they see? Because there's no cams. There's no closed circuit television. He figures out that the dust is watching. The visual receptors in our eyes have been hijacked. So like the little dust that's in your eye, right, is a camera. That's what they're seeing on the screen. What the actual fuck? Dust in your eye is the camera. And I do this. I did like his when he said a very nasty idea. He comes up with a very nasty idea, which is that in the end, it's Rasmussen, the doctor, who is the one that's been making the film and everything, saying what he wanted. He was the one in the end that wants these things to spread everywhere across the entire universe and have these Sandmen take over. Okay. And that they'll spare him because, yeah, great, he'll be the one man walking around a bunch of blind sand people. And he has this guy, the Wellspring, the man who hasn't slept in 5 years. Well, he's basically just another Sandman in that thing at that point. And through him, this whole thing does not make sense. That's the line. That's what the doctor says. The doctor even says it. This doesn't make any sense. He even looks like right there. This doesn't make sense. The recording, and the recording is the infection. That he said at the beginning, don't watch this. Don't, for the love of God, don't watch this. And then he tells us again that we shouldn't have watched it. And that now you're all infected and you're all going to become Sandmen in the 38th century. And that's the end of the episode. They literally don't solve it. The doctor gets into the TARDIS with Clara, and I think one person lives, maybe more. I can't remember because it really just didn't matter. But I feel like, and the guy, that's it. They show the guy at the end, and he says, this is the infection, and you're all now doomed. I told you not to watch it, and that's how it ends. I feel like this is something that either this was literally like throw something against the wall, see if it sticks kind of episode. We need something to fill in. We need 11 or 12 episodes of whatever it is. Yeah, 10, 11, yeah, it's like this, so it's like a 3-part finale. We need 12 episodes, and we're running out of ideas for this year. How about Sandmen? The crust in our eyes, figure it out. I also feel like then the way that they left it open, maybe this is something that's going to come back later, but I hope not. I mean, unless that every once in a great while they just need to do a really dumb episode. Because that's what this was. I mean, it was fun. If you love it, great. Because I watch this episode now almost like it's a Mystery Science Theater episode. But with the doctor in it. Like with Peter Capaldi and Jenna Coleman somehow jammed in there. Into this like bad cliched space horror movie, low budget bullshit movie. But I couldn't skip it. All right? Belinda, you paid for these. We're doing them all. So, anyway, we're going to be back next week with episode 10. I think it's like, what is that? Fear the Raven or something like that? Something like that. But, yeah, I wanted to make sure I got this done because this was the last thing I've been doing. I've been putting it off all day to record this. So, thanks for watching. If you like this review, please hit the like button, comment, share, subscribe. If you're not a subscriber, hit the bell for all notifications. Yeah, sharing is caring. Please share these videos with as many people as you can. And otherwise, you can find me on Twitter at reviews_gun. This is Rob saying have a great day, and we'll see you next week with more Doctor Who. Bye.